Good morning, boys and girls, children of all ages, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Shalfa with Lisa Green. Lisa, how are you?
Hello.
Great to see
How
you.
are you?
Good. How was your weekend?
It was really nice. We had some nice warm weather. We had some sunshine in there. I know not everybody had that up around the Devil's Lake area. Had a little snow on Saturday there, but Southern Valley had a pretty decent weekend.
Yes, and it's all coming to a change.
I know.
It's coming to a change. Some people are excited about it.
Yeah.
Some people less excited about it, but everyone's got to be prepared for it.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we're getting into.
Yep, that's why we're here. We're going to talk about our first alert weather day for Tuesday and Wednesday for a storm system that's kind of accompanying a big change that's coming in our weather pattern, and that includes more wintry kind of feel. And these are the two higher impact days, tomorrow and Wednesday, though we will start to see it coming in even tonight. So again, it's rain, it's going to be a wet system, it's going to have some snow with it for a lot of us, but not everybody. So, we're talking about snow, but just know that it's not going to necessarily have the same impacts every single location in the valley. But the wind is definitely going to be a factor, and everybody's going to experience the cool down with it too. So depends on where you are. We're going to get into the details on that coming up.
And that sounds great. Let's get right into it.
Okay. So, we've been talking about, the certainties and uncertainties of this one. What we have been more confident on is what exactly we're seeing. Rain mix, snow with this system here in the region. The timing, again, late tonight. We'll get into that in our hour-by-hour planner coming up here through Thursday, with today, or Tuesday and Wednesday being biggest impacts, and the wind and cold affecting everybody here as we go through the next several days. What's been less certain is the exact track. However, I will say that our models, both our long-range models we've been following, and now that we're getting closer, our medium-range and short-range models, and by range I mean time range, are handling it all in a similar way with the track on that. So that's getting a little bit more certain. However, the rain-snow line can be very finicky on these. One little wobble, 1 degree difference, either above or below freezing, can make a huge difference between whether you see rain or snow or a whole mess of it all.
Yeah, a lot of the details depend on that 34 to 30, I'd imagine.
Exactly. So that's going to be an uncertainty area throughout the system simply because of the time of year. It's an early season system. And if you fall in that line, you're going to have, some high possibilities or some, low range possibilities. And we'll get into that coming up. And the intensity of impacts to, how strong the wind is, how will the snow showers end up developing, and how will that combine to affect travel, visibility, slick roads, that sort of thing. So
everything people need to know.
Exactly. So we're going to get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is our first winter storm watch of the season here in the valley. It includes the Devil's Lake area, and that is basically Devil's Lake, Langdon, back through Rolla, the Can-Do area, and then just east of Minot. And this is a location when here in the valley, a winter storm warning is issued when we're expecting 6 inches of snow or more. And so with that watch, that's indicating from the National Weather Service is this is kind of where we're expecting to see 6 inches of snow potential. The best bet for that. So the watch language is for 5 to 8 inches of snow. And it's not just snow, it's also wind gusts to 45 miles per hour, perhaps even a little stronger out to the west. So we know that combination of falling snow and strong winds can lead to low visibility. So that would impact travel. And then, of course, anything that accumulates will lead to some slick conditions, too. So this is kind of the bullseye of impacts right now.
And that just seems like, I know that they've seen a little bit, but this is really the, hey, welcome to winter, seems like, for this region.
I know. Devil's Lake, I feel like, always gets the brunt of it for early in the season. But it makes sense. More to the north and west,
Right.
That's the part of our viewing area that is oftentimes seeing our first snowfall. So this is an interesting map here. So this is from the Weather Prediction Center from NOAA. And what it's focusing in on is probabilities. So this is the probability of at least 4 inches of snow from this morning. And this is right in line with that watch. You can see we're looking at anywhere in orange or red is in that 80 to 90% probability for at least 4 inches of snow. So right in that area where it's more likely through Thursday that we'll see that. And then you can see the farther east you go, the chances really drop off. We're talking about 1 to 5% over by Lake of the Woods. So keep that in mind that, some of us in the east may not see much snow at all. We might just get a bunch of rain and then maybe a few flakes. And then it's in between that area where, you know, we have that changeover where it could get interesting. You can see a little bit of blue here into west central Minnesota, and that's in that 50% range of seeing 4 inches of snow. So we can't rule that out for the heart of the valley here. But again, the likelihood is a more greater into the Devil's Lake Basin. So that's something I just want to stress. We could get a heavier band that sets up in some of these locations that ends up producing some heavier snowfall.
So be ready.
Be ready. That's the bottom
It's
line.
also kind of one of those things where it's like better safe than sorry.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a guarantee. But if you're in this region, definitely
Pretty
be
good shot.
ready to be ready and then really be ready.
Yes, I like that. There you go. Be ready to be ready to be ready. I like that. So, okay, so here's the current situation. You know, we've got some sunshine out there. We had a beautiful sunrise this morning. It's a beautiful day. There are some clouds drifting through, some high clouds right now. And we're dry. So if you wanted to get up some Christmas lights before the first snow.
Smart.
If you just need to do some leaves, raking the leaves before they get all soggy and wet from the rain.
If you want to take your Halloween down? What if you haven't taken
yeah.
your Halloween down?
We did that yesterday. Put
you
away
go.
the pumpkins
Yeah.
and the,
Do
the
it now,
straw bale.
or you're going to be behind, and then it's not going to. You're
We'll all
then you're
survive
stuck
somehow.
with them up there.
If it doesn't happen, there's a chance, that if we do get some snow, it'll still melt. But
And if you're stuck, just it's Nightmare Before Christmas themed
There
or
you
something,
go.
right? Because that's a Halloween and a Christmas movie.
What's this?
Okay.
There's light things in the air.
Yes, yes.
I watched that on Halloween.
Okay, very good. I haven't seen that in a few years, but I feel like I got to brush up. I was like, what is she doing? Oh, that's the
singing the
song.
song.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
The Pumpkin King. Anyways. So yes, you could have fun with that. But right now things are dry. So yeah, now's your chance to get out. And it's not just dry, it's mild because we know that the cold is coming too. I'm going to expand the view to show you a little bit more about what's going on. So we've got basically 2 upper level lows, one kind of northwest of us and another one south. And you could see that rain lifting in. Earlier this morning I was tracking this and it was approaching Omaha. Now it's approaching Sioux Falls. And eventually this is going to lift in. And this is where we're watching the Southern Valley for that rain to move in first tonight. And eventually, these kind of lows kind of join forces.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see what's happening here. You're going to have this guy and this guy, and they're going to have a big party up here.
It's not quite, did you ever see Perfect Storm? The Perfect Storm? Okay, that's more about a nor'easter off the coast of New England.
Okay.
Anyway, it's not quite that level, but yes, joining up, and that could make things interesting and kind of adds a layer of unpredictability as well. So I just want to kind of give you a timeline if you're traveling here in the coming days. We're a week away from Thanksgiving, and you might be hitting the road early here. So I just want to kind of give you an idea of what we can expect in the coming days. Today's looking good. We're giving you green light, low impact travel. Daytime hours are going to be dry. It's in the evening, especially late night and into the overnight hours where we'll see that rain taking over. Tuesday, again, more impacts with the rain the rain ongoing in the morning and then changing to snow for some of us. We'll get into that coming up. Wednesday, I think, is going to be our highest impact day, Tuesday night into Wednesday, because that's when we're seeing it change over to snow for everybody. That's where we're seeing more areas getting snow.
Sure.
And then we've got the wind combined with that. So, that's adding up on the roads. We've got lower visibility. And then Thursday might have a few flurries lingering, a little bit of a breeze, but it is improving quite a bit by Thursday.
Okay.
So timeline there, that's the basic overview. Let's get into the map here on our hour-by-hour planner. So I'm kind of disappearing off the screen here, sorry guys, but I don't want to block this. So for today, again, it's the evening rain. So we're starting this at 10:30. You can see that the rain has already moved in at that point. And this is I do want to stress, this is one particular model solution. They are all coming into agreement, but they're not all exactly the same. And this is a simulation, so likely what happens isn't going to be exactly like this, but it gives us an idea. So this is 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can see lots of rain covering the valley. It's going to be a soggy morning drive. It's mainly going to be a rainy morning drive on Tuesday. But then we see that rain change to snow, and it's going to start more in the west, in the northwest. So Devil's Lake area could happen as early as, mid-morning or even before. You can see that changeover. We're going from green, which means rain, to blue, which means snow. Pink is a mix in between. Or freezing rain to a mix. And you can see by the time we get into the evening hours Tuesday, we've got snow basically changed over where the precip is falling. Here's a caveat. Southern Valley might end up in a bit of a lull.
Interesting.
We might get into a break.
Okay.
So don't let that fool you if you see that happen. There's still that potential for snow coming up for overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday for the southern Valley.
But it's not as much as like, it almost looks like a lock up here in Grand Forks.
More likely, especially for Devil's Lake. And that's why that's the area that is expected to see some of the heaviest snowfall.
Very
because
good.
It's going to
Okay.
last longer there. And it's going to be colder there first, too. So
Right.
it's going to be more likely to
Setting a
stick.
stage.
Yes, exactly. And the wind is picking up as well, so that's going to be a problem for especially those areas in the Northern Valley getting snow at that point. Now let's move ahead into the overnight hours and into Wednesday morning. This is 7 a.m. So you can see what's going on here. We go from green to all blue over the valley. Now this will be more likely scattered, so it won't be uniform, but we'll still be seeing this is a lower resolution model, but it shows the kind of widespread coverage of that scattered snow. And you can see it's north and south seeing that potential. We've got some stronger winds driving in from the northwest. So where that snow is falling, where that wind is blowing, we've got blowing snow potential for the morning drive. And this is where more areas are likely to start to see accumulation. And the wind is going to be stronger in eastern North Dakota. This is where we're looking for, 40 plus mile per hour gusts potentially. Notice how the arrows are not looking as extreme. They're actually blue, which is, according to our color table, a lighter wind speed. So it may not be as bad for our viewing area in the east as far as wind is concerned.
And the wind is the one, just in my personal experience, drives me nuts. It drives me nuts, especially for the drive. And so I've done so many times that drive back from Grand Forks, and it might not even be snowing, but if there's snow on the ground and that gets to be blowing, it's almost, I didn't mean to do that crazy rhyme just now, by the way.
But
convenient. Almost gets worse.
Yes.
Just for that visibility, and there's just not a lot to block off. So that's the one I get freaked out about a little bit more, and it's also just cold. It blows right through your jacket. You got to layer up. So I feel like that's definitely worth getting. Yeah. Get ready for that wind.
Wednesday morning might be, let me think here, what are our levels? An AC level?
Oh, yes.
3 or 4 coat. If you've watched us talk before, we've got levels for which coats to wear.
I was AC level 2 this morning.
Okay, you'll probably want to be a 4 maybe.
Okay.
Just because we're not used to it yet, and we are going to have that wind chill factor to go with. And you want the puffy coat when it's snowing out, right?
Yeah. Phew.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And the hat and gloves and that sort of thing.
Yep.
So you want to be
the hat and the gloves.
I
haven't done I've been doing the hat. Broke out the hat this weekend. Haven't done the gloves yet. I think it's gloves time now.
It is. I'm going to have mine, and we're going to talk about things that you may want to have with you in the next couple of days if you're going to be driving as well coming up here. But yeah, I mean, the wind is going to be a factor. One thing I will say though is, ground is warm, air temperature still a bit warm for a winter event. So what I'm hoping here is once that snow falls, it sticks, it doesn't get picked up as easily by the wind with this event. So we will see blowing snow as it's falling, but I'm hoping that ground drifting won't be as strong as we see in the very, much colder events where we're not hovering near freezing during that time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, when the snow is less sticky, but I think this will be. Okay, so we've got that going on. Heading through the day on Wednesday, you can see there's still, even by 5 o'clock, still some lingering showers. The coverage is less. The intensity of the wind a little bit less, but it's just going to gradually dwindle and may even linger a few flurries into Thursday morning, but improvement happening here. So again, that's kind of the overall view of how things may play out. Now there's always some caveats going on here with the potential for that rain snow line to be a little bit shifted, or maybe the snow ends a little earlier. That would have some impacts on snowfall totals. So I brought this up. This is, okay, so we start with a lot of rain. We start with rain and then it changes over to snow. This is liquid potential. So this would include rain plus any meltdown snow as well. So the liquid in the snow. And this is great. You can see lots of yellow here. That means an inch or more of rainfall. We need it. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But again, we're looking at a very wet system coming into play here. So bottom line is whether you see 6 inches of snow or maybe just a couple of flakes, we're still getting the wet weather and we are still getting the cold and the wind. So it's still a significant event for everybody because of the changes that we'll be experiencing with this one and the wet conditions that'll be going on. All right, what's next? Snowfall. Okay, now this is kind of just to give you an idea. It's really going to be tough to nail down totals with this one.
This is the key word right here, potential.
Potential, yes. These systems in the early early season and late season systems are so hard with the warm ground right now, especially in the fall, and with the warmer temperatures. But bottom line is we're looking in that 6-inch range up in this area being a possibility, and then it does drop off from there. So, you know, we're looking at maybe 1 to 3 inches for a lot of places right in the heart of the valley, if this scenario pans out, and then diminishing from there in that 0 to 1 range in the far east. And again, it could be slushy snow. It could melt very quickly. It could turn to ice as it melts. You know, so it's going to be a bit messy, I think, where we do end up seeing it. So speaking of, we want to be prepared for traveling in this event. So we are just kind of giving you a few tips to be prepared for driving and traveling in snowy conditions and wintry weather. I know some of us have lived here all our lives and we know the drill.
Yeah, but there's some new people too,
yeah,
and there always is.
Right, it's good to be reminded.
Yeah.
I need a reminder myself sometimes. So again, as we're getting into winter time, and since this is kind of our first event, you know, and one thing I want to stress is this is not going to shut down the valley.
Right.
We're looking at, you know, our first snow event that brings some significant snow to parts of the valley.
And like you said, even though it may be your 40th or 50th winter in the valley, for a lot of people, I was talking to our UPS delivery guy the other day, and he was saying, oh yeah, you know, my brother-in-law is moving from California and he doesn't know what he's getting into.
Yep.
Maybe he's watching right now.
Maybe
he's watching, because this is the
hope
kind of stuff that they need to know. And a lot of people who are in the news industry, they move from all over.
We have some new people.
We got a lot of new people, and so it's even though, you know, just hey, it's like the part of class where you're like, hey, be patient. Not everyone knows all the math like you do. We're talking about this for the people who still, you know.
We're giving our classmates some grace here.
Yeah,
so,
okay. Exactly.
So first of all, I want to make sure you're checking for updates. Of course, we always want you to check our Valley News Live weather app. We're updating you constantly there. Check back with us right here and on Valley News Now and on Valley News Live. And just preparing for travel, I want to make sure you've got your tires checked, that they've got good air in them, your washer fluid's topped off. Make sure your ice scraper, your snow brush is in your car. You know, you take it out in the summer times.
And
then next thing you know.
Big time. Or if you got the little wimpy one in there, and then you got the big one.
The big one makes a big difference.
I just put the big one in the back seat because I'm getting prepared to be prepared.
That's what we like to hear.
And that's this is what it's all about. This is the preparation prep.
Yes. And, you know, the shovel, always a good idea during winter time. Not everybody would necessarily need it for this event, but good to have in your car.
It's just good to have.
Just in case. Survival kit, we'll kind of go over that a little bit here, but we'll be talking about that more in the coming months.
Right.
This is especially important during some of those coldest days of winter.
Yeah.
Have a full gas tank, of course, if you find yourself stranded. You don't want to have an empty gas tank. Communicate where you're going, so in case you don't make it, people know the route you're taking.
And even to use the little, if you have one of those phones with the Find My Friends, or like where people are, and so then, you know, if you're worried about, for Thanksgiving travel, worried about, oh, you know, I thought Aunt Eleanor was going to be here a while ago. You can check Aunt Eleanor.
Right
Aunt Eleanor's on I-29.
And she's moving along. She's doing okay.
Yeah, she's just driving 32 miles an hour.
She'll get there when she's good and ready. So always a good idea to do that during the winter time. Like let people know the path, and then it's great. We have technology for that now too, and have your cell phone fully charged as well.
Yeah.
We know around here the cold can drain your phone like that.
Big time.
So and have a charger in your car as well. So just a couple of tips here as we're getting into the season. Again, this is kind of a reminder. Same thing with this graphic. Just making sure you're checking your tire pressure, your tank's full.
Whoa! Look at that. Who did this graphic?
We did.
It's amazing. This is incredible. And you could see it from the other angles. I said, what's in that truck? Well, here's what you got in this truck.
Now we know. And this is just like a small sampling of what you would want in a winter survival kit. Blankets to stay warm with if you're going to be stranded in your car, a non-perishable food and water, warm clothes, so you want to layer up, and have enough for everybody that is with you. Your shovel, your tow rope.
And it doesn't have to be made of gold. This is a very expensive shovel, but hey, if you got a gold shovel,
you might as well be fancy.
Might as well use it. Yeah, solid gold.
You know what? Like, you know, after the storm, you know, when the sun comes out, the glint of the sun off of it might allow people to see you. Like, you might get attention by being so shiny.
You could
like
sell
that.
it maybe for a few $1,000s. I wonder, where do you get one of those?
You know,
gold
from
shovels?
the gold shovel
This shovel used to belong to King Midas.
There you go.
His first winter in Fargo. Historical artifact.
I love it. Yes, gold shovel. Only a gold shovel will
It
do.
doesn't, it doesn't have to be gold, but preferred.
Yes, but just something if you get stuck in
yeah.
a big drift, you can dig yourself out of. And same thing for either sand or cat litter.
Right.
It helps you provide that traction.
Interesting, cat litter. Okay,
Yeah, that can help
interesting.
to provide traction if you are stuck somewhere as well. You can use that for help too, and the first aid kit as well. And there's more that can be added to this, and we'll be sharing that again for you throughout the season. But just a reminder, and for people who are new, you definitely want to have a winter survival kit in your car.
Yeah, and with this being kind of our first system we're looking at, it's just good reminders.
Good reminder, yeah, to start loading up the car for what you need for winter time. And then, you know, again, this is something that a lot of us already know, but it's always good to be reminded how to be safe driving in the winter time.
Some people really need these reminders. All right, I'll just go ahead and say it. Sometimes I see these winter drivers, or I'll be the guy, because I drive very carefully, and somebody's behind me going crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm just trying to live.
Don't tailgate. You know, your stopping distance is so much longer during the winter.
Yeah, it's really important to.
Definitely don't want to do that. You'll slide right into the back of somebody. But we all know it, and especially the first snow, it feels like everybody forgets how to drive in snowy weather anyway. So it's just good to remind yourself and everybody else to slow down. And again, it does take longer to stop on ice and snow, so you want lots of space between you and the cars around you. And avoid cruise control too. That's something, if you're not from here, you might not realize. If you start to slide, your cruise control is still trying to go. So that could get you into some real trouble. So don't use cruise control. You know, remove ice and snow from your vehicle, the rooftop, because that snow can blow off onto other people and block their view. And you need a good view as well. Headlights, taillights on during snow events. And skidding. You don't want to be accelerating or braking too hard to avoid skidding. And if you do start to skid, you want to, here's the tip. Slowly lift off the accelerator, and then don't slam on the brakes, and then turn into the direction of the skid to regain control.
Interesting. Turn into the direction of the skid. Okay.
So that's not one everybody, you know, practices or has experience with.
Turn
So
in the
that's
direction of the skid. I didn't know that. That's a good one.
yeah. So again, I mean, you probably know this already, but it's always good to be reminded about that. Now I want to talk about just the forecast, just kind of give you an idea of what we're experiencing, not just with the system overall, but how it's going to be outside when you're standing out there temperature-wise.
And this is exactly when I sent you that email this morning. I was looking at this, and I said, hey,
we need to talk about
we
this.
got to talk.
Yeah. So, okay, so today looking good. Today is your day, everybody. And then tomorrow, you can see each of our communities here, north, south, are experiencing some wet weather. Some may be experiencing some mix. Some may be changing over completely to snow. And this is in the afternoon time frame where I have this set. And look at these temperatures, much cooler, but still not quite in freezing range just yet in the afternoon Tuesday. But look where we are by Wednesday. We've got snow, we've got wind and snow, and temperatures that are at or below freezing. So where we get the wet weather, if the road isn't treated, then we could have ice on the roads. And then on top of that, we could be dealing with falling snow and lower visibility as well. So again, both days were impactful days, especially anywhere where we have snow, but Wednesday's going to be more impactful for more areas, Wednesday morning especially. So
seems like it's nothing too serious unless you're in that Devil's Lake region. It could definitely get a little more serious, but you know, we're still, it seems like this is it. This is when we're going to start to see.
Making the transition.
Yeah, when's winter coming? You know, we talked, Russ and I talked on Friday, kind of looked ahead to some of the stuff in the midweek too, and it was a little bit more like, it looks like it's going to happen. This is happening now.
Yeah, it's now happening, you know, and that's the certainty. Even if you don't see much snow, you are definitely going to get the cool air taking over, and we are going to see some type of moisture throughout the valley in the next couple of days. So and you know, conditions are just going to be, you know, unpleasant to be outside, and we're not used to this yet, so want to be ready for that. And this doesn't factor in the wind either, so it's going to feel even colder when we're talking about wind chills as well. So here we go into the next couple of days, seeing that change. And looking even further ahead, again, we have our first weather days Tuesday, Wednesday. It's tapering off Thursday. You can see by Friday our high is 28 degrees. And that was about where some of our lows were this morning. So that's a huge difference from Monday to Friday. So just remember, we're going to need the winter coats. We're going to need the hat and gloves. And heading into the weekend, too, we're watching for a little snow this weekend as well. coming up Saturday and Sunday, though it's not as impressive as the system that we're currently warning for. And just a heads up for anybody, making travel plans for next week. We do have Thanksgiving in our 11-day planner, and you can see our temperatures don't really recuperate from this drop. We're going to be around 30, some upper 20s here.
We're kind of talking about, even a few months ago, we were talking about how this year it's going to have a little bit of a cliff, and so it feels like we're kind of on that cliff now.
Yeah.
And so if you've been watching, this is all not necessarily new to you. Good for you, because you've been prepared to be prepared.
Right. You've been on top of it. But yeah, we talked about that, with La Nina falls, heading into La Nina, that switch flips. And this seems to be that switch.
Yeah. Old man Winter is walking over, he's hobbling over, and he's getting his hand to flip it. And then by Wednesday, I think,
here we go.
That flip is switched.
Yeah.
But, maybe there's another separate flip for Devil's Lake.
Yeah, sure.
Already being flipped.
And you know what? It's possible we could warm up a little bit again.
And that's great.
You never know.
You never know.
But this is definitely going to be a shock to the system, given how mild we've been this fall and how mild we are today. A couple of things just just to kind of highlight the significance of this.
Sure.
Fargo and Grand Forks, so far this season, we've got donuts for snow. Zero
love
snow
that,
so far
love
this
that.
season.
All going to change, but love it for now.
It will change. Even Bismarck is very on the low end. You can see where our average to date is. Usually we've had a few inches on average already. So this is, significant in the sense that it's our first snow of the season. It could be our first accumulations of the season coming up here. And then some places up by Devil's Lake getting even more. And I wanted to mention, with the dry weather that we've had recently, I just wanted to highlight that we are looking at that 1 to 2 inch moisture rainfall here.
Sure.
I'm trying to get our graphics to move. It's been a little bit sluggish. But this is our drought conditions map. And we are seeing drought conditions. Oh, looks like let me try to get back to it here because I really do want to show that. But we're seeing some of our worst drought conditions right now. Okay, let's see. She's a slow one here today. We'll just circle the area where I'm talking about. Over in Lakes Country. Oh, there it is. Just popped up like magic. Over in Lakes Country, this is where some of our worst drought is, that severe category. And this is kind of right in that area, even up into the heart of the valley as well, where we're looking at that 1 to 2 inch range.
So that could be really good.
That's the silver lining in all of this too, is replenishing the soil moisture a little bit more, heading into freeze up.
Yeah.
Winter wheat will benefit from that. All of that coming up here as we head into winter time. So, there's some good to go with this, given how dry we've been with that rain that's coming our way. So, again, just want to make sure you're prepared for what's to come. It's not going to be like a 2-day blizzard where nobody can go anywhere, but it is still a hazardous situation if you're not prepared for it. So that's why we want to make sure you're prepared for slick roads and spots, maybe a few inches of snow or more in some areas, not everywhere, and just the change in temperatures and windy weather, and just kind of a little bit miserable to be outside in this coming up here. And just a reminder, VNL Weather app, you can use this to check road conditions. If there are any delays, we've got tabs right here that you can select to keep an eye on things before you leave the house and to be prepared for what's to come.
Now, one last thing for you. It doesn't seem like it's going to be quite strong enough for play in the snow weather. That's probably...
It could be.
It could be?
It could be good kind of snowball making snow because it's probably going to be slushy.
A little more packable?
Yeah, more packable snow. More toward Devil's Lake, more toward those areas seeing quite a bit. And then, it's not going to be, I don't think, the pretty white fluffy snow that, you expect around Christmas time.
So don't be breaking out those cross-country skis
not quite ready
yet.
For that. You could build a little snowman.
Okay.
But as far as, starting up the winter sports, we're not quite there just yet. But, this might be your season with, La Nina is still expected. Again, we've been talking about that.
Yeah.
Colder temperatures means the opportunity for more snow.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Anything else we want to get into?
No, I think I covered a lot here.
I think so. And look at this. You can see this phone quite charged. That's part of the safety tips. Remember the safety tips. You can always watch this back as well. It's on our YouTube. It stays on our Facebook. It also will be on Valley News Live. Lisa, thank you so much as always.
You're welcome, and please tune back in, in the coming days. I'll be here in the mornings. Summer, Russ, Joseph, our entire staff will be on this and keeping you up to date throughout this event.
Keeping you ready to be ready. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.